Okay. Let's see, slides, go ahead and go. Okay, so we are going to jump right into everything today. I'll address questions and concerns at the end of the lecture, but right now I want to kind of focus on this material, okay? So I'd like to start off today by asking you to think about a time that you've seen someone present a really great speech. What did that speaker do that was so awesome? Chances are it wasn't just the words that goodness, off to a good start, that he or she said. They probably also had excellent delivery skills. Okay. Now, according to your ebook, here, one little chunk from your book you'll already know. Delivery is the combination of verbal and nonverbal communication skills used when presenting your speech. So today what we're going to focus on is not what you're saying, but how you're saying it. So by paying attention to this lecture, you'll have a better idea of how to present speeches, not just in this class, but in presentations after your time at Full Sail as well. So today we're going to look at both what to do and what not to do when presenting a speech. And this applies to both campus class and online. You know, I know you guys are presenting speeches in an interesting format this month, but this stuff can also apply to real life. Okay. Specifically, we're going to look at several aspects of verbal delivery, then we'll look at several aspects of nonverbal delivery. Someone says, hold on one second, guys. I see someone having issues with the sound. Oh, it looks like that's my. Can you guys hear me now? I think my internet connection dropped for a second.
To me,
who's specifically having problems? Samuel?
I mute my audio at one point, but I just unmuted. I can see you popping up the volume.
Okay. Is this Samuel I'm talking to?
I got audio on mic and speaker. And I'm on mute right now. I hear you. You can hear me, okay. I guess you guys can hear me, but I cannot hear anyone. Let me see. I'm pumping my volume up.
Click on, let's see, how do I do this here? My apologies to everyone. Hold on 1 minute while we get this kind of figured out. Okay. If you can see what I'm doing on the screen, Sam, make sure you've got built-in output if you are on, if you're just using your generic speakers on your computer. Otherwise, you may have a different option for headphones.
Oh, well. I guess I keep taking notes of what I see. I cannot hear you guys, but hopefully the notes are good enough. Okay, I will check my settings right now. Sound. On the little speaker set for output. Sam, check your preference to see if your speakers are active.
Is that helping you at all, Sam? Can you hear me?
Click on the little speaker. Make sure it's...
All right, take two here. For those of you watching the archive video, I had to pause for a second, get some technical things worked out. Hopefully we are good to go now. So, as I said before, think about a time you saw someone give a really great speech. What did that speaker do that was so amazing? Chances are it wasn't just the words that he or she said. They probably also had excellent delivery skills. And according to your textbook, delivery is the combination of verbal and nonverbal communication skills used when presenting a speech. It's not what you're saying, but how you're saying it. So, by paying attention to this lecture, you'll have a better idea of how to present speeches, not just in this class, but in presentations after your time at Full Sail as well. So today we're going to look at both what to do and what not to do when presenting a speech. Specifically, we're going to look at several aspects of verbal delivery, and then we'll look at several aspects of nonverbal communication. Before jumping into specifics, it's important to know one word that is essential in speech delivery, and that word is dynamism. Now, it may sound like a complicated word, but it's actually just what you might be thinking, okay? The word has the same roots as dynamic and dynamite, okay? So to have dynamism when you present means that you need to be active and have energy, okay? Being active and having energy will make a lot of this stuff that I'm going to talk about come second nature. It's going to come naturally if you are naturally passionate and excited, okay? And in turn, it will make your presentation more enjoyable. So, dynamism. When you think about it, think back to this picture that I've got of these fireworks. Really kind of literally, well, not literally, more figuratively, I mean, let yourself explode when you're giving a presentation. Put all the energy that you have into your speech into this. Okay? So now that you know the definition of dynamism, let's look at how you can incorporate this concept into your speeches. There are several things you can do with your voice to be a dynamic speaker. The first thing you need to keep in mind is your breathing. Okay? Remember to breathe deeply from your diaphragm when you're speaking, okay? Think about your body being like a tank. You want to fill it up with air, okay? We want to watch out for taking deep, shallow little breaths because then that's going to make our voice sound choppy. Take big, deep breaths and your voice will sound more confident. That breathing will also, in turn, help you with projection. Okay? This is basically kind of just booming your voice loud enough to make sure that people can hear what it is you're saying, okay? You don't want to be whispering. You don't want to be too quiet. You need to make sure that you're speaking in a way that people can hear you. Now, projection is a little different than one thing we're going to talk about here, okay? The next thing is vocal variety, okay? Vocal variety is what we need to do with our voice to make sure that it's truly interesting for the audiences to listen to. And I like to illustrate this by showing you kind of a what not to do first, okay? Hopefully you guys all know who Ben Stein is. Ben Stein is that guy who's known for the Clear Eyes commercials. He's in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He's the one teacher who goes, Bueller, Bueller. Yes, as Eric says in the chat, he did have a game show as well, Win Ben Stein's Money. I loved that show, actually. I'm sad it's not around anymore. But basically, Ben Stein was able to build a career out of his characteristically monotone voice, okay? Now, no offense to you guys, chances are you're not going to be able to build a career in that way. So what you need to do is we need to be the opposite of Ben Stein when we're presenting our speeches. We need to incorporate vocal variety. These are 3 different things you can do with your voice to incorporate that. First is the volume. Okay, now volume is a little different than projection. Projection is making sure your voice booms across the room. Volume is the loudness and the softness with which you speak. Okay, now you can have a soft voice and still project. Right now I'm speaking softly, but I'm still making sure to boom my voice so you guys can hear it. But you can also speak really loudly. Just be careful with this, especially when you're recording something on a computer, because audio levels can get pretty jumpy, pretty crazy if we don't watch out for them, okay? But basically, you want to change up the volume when you're speaking. If we speak louder, it sends the idea to the audience that stuff is more important or more intense. Whereas if you want to kind of keep the audience calm, speak in a softer voice, okay? Again, you can still project. You're just kind of changing that volume, okay? Then we have the tone, okay? This is where we really break away from Ben Stein. Tone is the highs and the lows in your voice. Make sure that your voice is warm and showing enthusiasm. If you do that, a lot of times the highs and the lows will kind of come out naturally, okay? At the same time, you don't want this to sound too rehearsed. You want this to come naturally. So it may be helpful to practice your speech in front of someone so they can let you know if you're incorporating these changes in tone or not. The next thing to work on vocal variety is rate, okay? This is the speed at which you speak. And now, of course, since this is variety, you want to feel free to shake them up, but make sure you keep in mind what they are meant to be used for, okay? You can speak slowly to add emphasis to things that are important. But if you speak too fast, things can be incomprehensible. And again, like that idea with volume, speaking slowly adds a little bit more impact. Speaking fast makes things a little bit more intense, okay? So just keep in mind that the rate with which you're speaking should match up with what you're talking about. The next things we want to keep in mind are articulation and pronunciation, okay? Articulation is the crispness with which you say your words, okay? So don't try and chop your words too short, like this. Don't chop your words short. And also watch out for slurring your words together. Clearly articulate so that the audience can truly easily take in what you're saying. Additionally, make sure that you pronounce words properly, okay? We may not know what you're talking about if you mispronounce a word, okay? So if you have a word in your speech that you are unfamiliar with or you're not sure how to say, do a little bit of research. Find out how it should be pronounced. Maybe ask some people how it should be said. And this slide is blank for a reason. This is to show the importance of pauses, okay? Now, pauses can be used in a good way. Maybe you want your audience to think about something you just said. Feel free to insert a pause, give them that break. Another way pauses can be good is that they help you avoid what are known as non-fluencies, okay? I know it's a big fancy word, but we all know what non-fluencies are. They're those things like all those little filler words, okay? Chances are we use non-fluencies when we don't know what we're going to say next. We need a minute to think, okay? Rather than filling blank space when you're thinking with non-fluencies, feel free to just take a second and pause. Say nothing, okay? Pauses can give you a moment to get back on track if you get lost, rather than just trying to fill the space with nonsense, okay? Now, non-fluencies, people use them from time to time. As much as I'd like to think that I am a polished public speaker, I even use them from time to time. So don't get too caught up on eliminating all of them, but if you're the type of person who you know you use them every other sentence, that you're going to want to watch out for and try and cut down on those. Is somebody playing some music? Again, just a reminder, I ask that you keep your microphone muted unless if you have a question. I'm glad to answer questions, but I don't need to hear what's going on at your houses. Okay, got it. So let's move on. Okay. So breathing, volume, tone, rate, articulation, and pronunciation and non-fluencies are all things that refer to your voice when you're speaking. So now what we're going to take a look at is what you need to be doing with the rest of your body. And the rest of this is based on the idea that you cannot not communicate. That's just the idea that even if you're not saying any words, your body is constantly sending a message. So we need to be aware of our nonverbal communication skills. The first thing you want to keep in mind is eye contact. Now, admittedly, this one's a little difficult given that you guys are not going to be presenting speeches in person. So we need to create a kind of artificial eye contact, but it's still a way to connect with your audience so that they know you're a credible speaker and so that they know they can trust you, basically. Okay? So, making eye contact grabs their attention. As I said before, it shows that you're a trustworthy speaker. If you're making eye contact, it shows that you have practiced and you don't need to read your entire speech from notes. So, for an online speech, what you need to do is look right into your camera. A lot of times when we're recording speeches, we feel the inclination to look down at our images of ourselves that are on our screen. But if you think about it, you're not presenting your speech to you. You're presenting your speech to the audience. So if you look right into that camera, you're going to kind of establish that connection that we need to have, okay? I want you guys to pretend like you're a newscaster, okay? Even though it may feel weird, you need to look directly into the camera. Okay, like what newscasters do. You'll notice, yeah, they glance down at their notes when they need to, but otherwise they're staring right into the camera so that their audience feels a little closer to them. Okay. Moving on from your eyes, you need to be aware of what you're doing with the rest of your face, okay? You need to make sure that you have facial expressions, and they should match what you're saying, okay? For example, don't look happy if you're talking about a serious topic. And don't look sad if you're talking about an exciting topic, okay? Our face reinforces what it is we're talking about. So that's why you want to make sure it matches, okay? It's another way to send a message to your audience. Additionally, do make sure that you're doing at least something with your face. One of the biggest problems I see in speeches given online is that people just don't do anything with their face. They're so focused on their eye contact and their word usage that they just look almost kind of scared, kind of that deer in headlights look. Gestures are a very important part of public speaking. However, in the online setting, they're a bit trickier to incorporate, okay? Typically, how I like you guys to present speeches in this class is for you to be sitting in front of your camera, and basically so we're just kind of seeing you from the chest up, okay? I don't want you guys necessarily standing far away and, kind of doing the traditional speaking. I want you guys to adjust for this particular setting, okay? So rather than focusing on what you should do with your hands, I want you guys to think about what not to do with your hands. Try and keep them out of view unless if you have gestures that are really just important to back up what it is you're saying, okay? You want to watch out for doing distracting things such as touching your face or playing with your hair. You know, we all do those little kind of itch things and whatever. Make sure you're keeping those to a minimum. Even though you're sitting and not standing to present these speeches, posture is still key to speech delivery. Make sure that you're sitting up straight in your chair to come across as more professional. If you're slouching down, it can make you look too casual. Another thing I see people do is they tend to kind of lean forward, okay? They got their arms on their desks and they're leaning in. The problem with this is it almost looks like you're trying to jump at the camera, almost like you're going to attack the audience, and we don't want that. Okay. For those of you who are watching the archived version of this video, here comes your first question, okay? And that is, what are two nonverbal elements that are unique to online speaking? Okay. The two things I'm talking about here are lighting and framing. Okay, now when we present a speech live, we don't really have to worry about what's going on in the background or if the room is well lit. Typically, that stuff is set. However, lighting and framing are crucial to presenting a professional online message. Okay? So, when you're sitting in front of your computer, make sure that your laptop is set so that we can see you from about your chest up. Also, watch out for having too much space above your head. Make sure that you're not looking down at us. Be sure to place your camera so that you're kind of eye contact level with it. We should be on your level as audience members. Additionally, your audience can't see you if you're not properly lit, okay? There is a Strobist article provided in your week 1 speech assignment that will explain how to properly light your shots. It's called How to Enhance Your Cheapo Webcam, okay? Now, yes, Macs are awesome. They do a lot of great things, but the webcam still leaves a bit to desire. It's to be desired. It's not going to do all the work for you, okay? Make sure that you are well lit. We need to be able to see you. Ben Black makes a comment that he's really animated when it comes to his face when he talks. So you need to make sure that you are well lit, because otherwise we're not going to see those great facial expressions. Okay. As a kind of example that I'd like to share from one of my previous students, he was presenting a speech and half of his face was not lit. In addition, he had a hat on, which we'll talk about later, but the way the light was set up in his room, you could only see half of his face. You saw like part of his eye and then like a bit of his mouth. And honestly, I kind of felt like I was watching a horror movie. It was really scary, just only seeing part of this guy's face, okay? So make sure that you're presenting in a well-lit room. Make sure that it's evenly lit. Again, be sure to check out that Strobist article. And there is a video done by one of the other public speaking instructors, Ms. Lane, that is sort of embedded in your speech assignment this week. So make sure to check that out. She gives you some good tips and tricks for lighting and framing, okay? So again, to repeat, for those of you watching the archive, your question here, what are two nonverbal elements that are unique to online speaking? And that, of course, is lighting and framing. Now, while we are only seeing you from the chest and shoulders up, your attire is still a crucial part of presenting a professional speech, okay? I'm not asking you guys to put on a suit or go out and buy brand new clothes or anything like that. But I do ask that you wear something nicer than just the generic white t-shirt, okay? I also ask we take a lesson of what not to do from Carrot Top here. No tank tops, and no hats or visors or anything like that, okay? We are trying to emulate a professional situation here. So you need to make sure that you dress polished and accordingly, okay? You're supposed to be taking this class seriously, so make sure you show us that. The last piece of information that I have for you guys, I should say second to last, make sure that you have energy, okay? If you are excited and enthusiastic about your topic, a lot of this stuff will come naturally, okay? At the risk of sounding like a huge dork, I love public speaking. I love teaching it. I love talking about it. So giving lectures like this, it's very natural for me to have good vocal variety. Well, you can't see it right now, but if I was making eye contact, my gestures, everything, all that comes easily for me because I'm talking about a topic that makes me excited, and it's easy for me to be energetic about it, okay? So make sure to harbor all the interest and energy and enthusiasm you have. And above all else, this is Full Sail, so of course, we like to reinforce professionalism. Now, the specific way you're going to have professionalism in your speech, make sure that you use appropriate language. Keep this PG-13, guys. You have a polished appearance and attire. Again, it doesn't mean you have to be dressed up. Just step it up from your normal attire, okay? Make sure that you have a professional attitude and respect for the audience, okay? So today, we've looked at several elements that all work together to create powerful, dynamite presentations. Be sure to keep in mind both the verbal elements of breathing, volume, tone, rate, articulation, pronunciation, and non-fluencies, and the nonverbal elements of eye contact, facial expressions, gestures, posture, lighting, framing, attire, and energy when practicing and presenting your speech. Okay? Practice is the key to mastering these techniques. And if you'd like more information on delivery skills, you'll want to see chapter 13 in your ebook, okay? Now, I'll take this second to address speech class concerns. I do believe the ebook codes are still filtering out. I don't think all the emails have quite been sent yet, okay? So until you get your code, unfortunately, there's really not much we can do. I've got rumor that we've got some back ordered. Okay, I'll talk to my distribution people, see what they can tell me about that. Everyone's is back ordered. Okay. Wow, pretty much everyone. So you guys have got, so those of you who are here, literally everyone. So you guys have gotten an email with a code. Have you gotten an email with a code at all? You've gotten no emails with no code. Ebook code, but not speech. Okay. Well, the ebook code and the speech class code are the same thing. They should have emailed you one code, and then there's a slideshow up on our FSO homepage that shows you how you should go about vital source, but not speech class, and it's not the same. Uh-oh. Well, that's not good. I was told that everything was supposed to come all in one. Email saying it was ordered. Okay. It doesn't work. You were on support. Yeah, unfortunately, the thing with FSO support is that they can't really help us until we actually have the codes. And at that point, all they can really do is help us with the code. Yeah, okay, so you guys are getting the vital source code inside the book. Okay, Eric, so you're saying that the code we're given is for a book in Vital Source. And if you open the book in Vital Source, does it give you the code that you can then in turn put into the website? Okay, that did work for Eric. Some people are saying it's for a different site. You tried that and it didn't work for you. Okay. Well, here's what we're going to do. First of all, those of you concerned, of course, no, we're not going to, all of a sudden make you guys rush into doing anything. But you don't have an assignment tab. That may not, Joshua, that may not be the right website then, because the assignment tab is where it's all supposed to be. Okay, so what I'm going to say here is I'm going to try and directly get in. It's not the same website. It's for some site with the videos. Okay, I'm going to get in touch with our distribution people and try and figure out what's going on here. Again, I apologize for the confusion. I will push back the due date of your quiz, obviously, since you guys haven't had time to do anything yet, really. I think I'll have that due Sunday night. We'll push it back. Yeah, Jonathan, like I said, I'm not sure. I was told that you guys would be emailed a code that you would be able to put into the Your Speech Class website, and then it would go from there. So unfortunately, that's the extent of what I know. I apologize that you guys have to go through this, and I really wish I knew how to help you out, but that's literally all the information they have given to me. So I'm going to talk to people, try and get stuff figured out. Thank you guys for being so nice and so sympathetic. I really appreciate it. But we will get this situation worked out. Your grades aren't going to be negatively affected by it. You know, all your other instructors are on the same page with me. We're aware of what's going on. We're doing what we can to get it fixed. Just keep glued to your email. We'll send out email announcements. We all get A's. I can't guarantee that, but we will send out email to make sure everything gets corrected and updated. Okay. I do have one little activity left for you guys. I want to show you a quick little video tip. Since we talked about how lighting and framing are so crucial for online speaking, I'm going to show you guys a quick little video that has 4 different video setups, okay? These are ones that all the speech teachers here have seen a lot. Now, none of them is perfect, but I want you guys to watch this video and share with me your thoughts on which one you think is best. And for those of you who are watching the archived video of this, this is your second question. You need to tell us what video setup you think looks the most professional and give us some tips for how we can improve those other shots. Okay, hopefully this works for me.
In this video, you'll see 4 different clips. Focus on the production quality of each clip, and remember, production quality includes lighting. Can we see you? Sound. Can we hear you, and are there noises in the background? Framing. How much of you can we see? And finally, the scene or the background. What's behind you? Focus on the production quality, and while you're watching these clips, decide for yourself which one looks the most professional. Then, try to figure out how the other clips could be improved. So, what do the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, Motley Crue, Jimi Hendrix, and Kiss all have in common? They all share the same sound engineer, Eddie Kramer. So whether we notice it or not, Eddie Kramer has single-handedly influenced the sound of each generation of music from the 60s all the way through to the 90s. So what do the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, Motley Crue, Jimi Hendrix, and Kiss all have in common? They all shared the same sound engineer, Eddie Kramer. Now today I'm going to talk to you about how Eddie Kramer single-handedly influenced the sound of each generation of music from the 60s all the way through the 90s. So what do the Beatles, Rolling Stones, Motley Crue, Jimi Hendrix, and Kiss all have in common? They all have the same sound engineer, Eddie Kramer. Eddie Kramer single-handedly influenced the sound of generations from the 60s all the way through to the 90s. What do the Beatles, Rolling Stones, Motley Crue, Jimi Hendrix, and Kiss all have in common? They all have the same sound engineer, Eddie Kramer. Today I'm going to tell you how Eddie Kramer single-handedly influenced the sound of generations from the 60s all the way through to the 90s. We watch videos all the time, and we're pretty good at figuring out what we like to see. The next step for you is to try to figure out which tricks you like that you can actually use in the work that you're putting together for yourself. Keep up the good work.
Okay, so like we said, 4 video setups. None of them were really all that great. In fact, most of them were really bad. Okay, so yes, like someone said, these are kind of an example of what not to do. That first one, it was, I'm blanking on what the first one looked like. The second one was the first one was all bouncy. Clearly the laptop wasn't, her camera wasn't set on anything, so it was bouncing everywhere, and she was too close to the camera. In the second one, it was too dark. We couldn't see them, right? Someone in the chat commented that it looks scary. I would agree. The third one, yes, everyone seems to agree. The third is the best, but it's still not perfect. Like a lot of people are commenting on in the chat, there's too much room, too much headspace. Yeah, you film majors in this class. You should know what headspace is, okay? So make sure that you're tightening up the shot. However, I think we could all agree that hers was pretty well lit in that third one, in choice C. And D was just messy. There was stuff in the background. We heard all sorts of crazy sounds. No, we don't want that. Okay, so moral of the story, all of these were bad. C was the best, but could still use a little bit of work. Okay, so just make sure that you're keeping these things in mind when you do your own speeches. Okay, and as a reminder to those of you watching the archive, please tell me which of these video setups you thought was the most professional, and then offer us some advice for how to clean up and make some of the other ones look better. Okay. So with that, I'm going to close with a quick summary of what's going to be due this week. Oops, we don't want to watch that again. There we go. Okay, so your reading quiz will be bumped back until Sunday. I'll get in contact with your instructors so that they are aware of that, okay? However, you do need to go ahead and post on the week 1 discussion board by Friday. That you don't necessarily need the ebook for. That's all just done through FSO, okay? Your TED Talk evaluation will be due by Sunday, and that needs to be uploaded to speech class. The requirements are listed in FSO, so you at least have access to that. Speech class will simply be for uploading those. Again, though, if we keep running into problems, we'll, kind of work with you guys on that, okay? Then you need to post a response to classmates, okay? On the FSO discussion board, make sure that you're responding to that week 1 post. Find one of your classmates, and I give questions that you need to answer regarding that as well. And then the TED Talk, you'll want to actually go into speech class, select a classmate's video to watch, and insert comments throughout. I believe I have directions for that in the TED speech document, so check that out. It does also seem to be pretty self-explanatory once you get in there. And one question we have here is any TED Talk acceptable? You can use any TED Talk that is between 10 and 20 minutes, and it cannot be the Ken Robinson video that I'm asking you guys to watch, okay? Jonathan, that was exactly what I was getting to next. So if you sat through this class, in the text box right now, please go ahead and type your full name and either your instructor's name or your section number, because I know we've got people from multiple different classes in here. So go ahead and type your name and your instructor. That will give you credit. You don't have to answer the questions. Those of you who are watching this as the archive video, you do need to answer the questions. Type them up in a Word document and upload it to FSO, okay? Thank you guys for attending. I do appreciate it. Please feel free to reach out to your instructors if you have any questions. And again, we will keep you updated on this ebook situation. All right, thank you guys. Have a good afternoon.